He aha te mea nui o te ao, he tangata, he tangata, he tangata. I roto I tērā whakaaro kei ngā mana tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora and welcome to Tapatahi. Thanks for joining us. Tapatahi literally means to unite and is taken from the well-known Māori song Tūtira mai ngā iwi. And it's all about doing this together, so if you have a question or comment, please let us know. Well, coming up on today's program, hundreds of thousands of people have returned to work under eased level 3 restrictions, and some have been queuing in long lines for takeaways. We cross to the owner and operator of Kai Cafe in Rotorua about day one of alert level 3. We speak to the CEO of the Whānau Ora Commissioning Agency about their response to COVID-19 and their ongoing plans to support whānau. We look at the impact on the screen industry, and the Matthews whānau join us with today's waiata. But first, here's what you need to know in 30 seconds. Well, it's day 34 since the country went into lockdown, but day one of alert level 3. There are 5 new cases, one is confirmed, 4 are probable. 1,180 have recovered, which takes our new total of cases to just under 1,500. 74 in hospital, including 1 in ICU, and no one is in a critical condition. Just under 124,000 have been tested. Of the total number of cases, positive cases, 9% are Māori, 5% are Pacifica, 12% Asian, 73% Pākehā or other, and 1% unknown. Well, New Zealanders woke up this morning to life at alert level 3. That means a slight easing of restrictions, but not by much. People can expand their household bubbles slightly to reconnect with close whānau, bring in caregivers or support someone who lives alone. Travel is restricted to within your region, apart from essential workers and those who were caught outside their home region at lockdown who may now return home. If people can still work from home, they should. However, 400,000 people are expected to have returned to workplaces today. They'll mostly be in construction, the trades or retail and takeaway workers who can operate within safe distance guidelines and without contact with customers. Paula Collier of Te Arawa is the owner of Kai Cafe Rotorua. They've been working hard to prepare for non-contact pickup and delivery services in level 3. They're also making hāngi, which will help support local musicians who have been left out of pocket due to COVID-19 restrictions. With me now is Paula Collier. Tēnā koe.
Kia ora.
How was business today?
It was actually really good. It was nice to be in the cafe this morning. Obviously, I was in here about 5:30 this morning, having my little bit of me time, prepping, doing my little bit of side of the prepping. So it was a good feeling to actually walk into the place, and then have our team come in, and start doing their thing, and just the laughing, the banter amongst us. It's been awesome. Yeah.
What about the customers? Have you experienced a deluge of customers visiting the store today?
Yes, not visiting the store, but on Facebook last night and Messenger, I got a lot of messages, a lot of pre-ordering. So that was really awesome. We've got a system in place where we can pick up, where they can pick up or we can deliver. So yeah, no, it's actually been really good. The one thing with this and the pre-ordering, we're already prepared, so there's not a huge wait for everybody. So it's a learning curve and it's an experience, but we adapt well.
Absolutely.
As Māori, we adapt.
Yes, we do. Absolutely, we do. And tell me about that experience. What has the experience been like in terms of preparing for reopening today and then carrying out your plans?
We have an amazing team at Kai Cafe. So last week we sat down for 3 days, obviously when we were allowed to start preparing ourselves. We sat down and we threw a few ideas around. We're lucky we have an open window. So we thought we'll use that as our pickup area, which gives us that 2 metres distance from customers and all the rest of it. So, and a lot of it, as Māori, we're very, very clean anyway. Not just Māori, but as New Zealanders, we're a very clean country anyway. So for us, enforcing the sanitising, the wiping down, the washing of hands, because it's something that we do regularly anyway, within our cafe, it was quite easy to run that across, and the fact that if anybody, when they're doing pickup, when they're touching the pay wave machine, anything like that, we have the spray, obviously the disinfectant to combat any germs, or not, anything that anyone's touched, put it that way. Yeah.
That's great to hear, Paula. Can you introduce us to the person standing behind you? Be great to understand who your amazing work colleague is.
She's actually my cafe manager. She's my right hand. She's also my niece, Alicia Collier, but she has been a huge support throughout the time of me buying this cafe, and getting it up to the standard where we have it at. So she's a huge part of Kai Cafe, as our whole team is, our whole whānau. Kai Cafe is whānau based. But she's like, during lockdown, she was my poor thing. She didn't get 4 weeks off. She got me messaging her, both bouncing around ideas, both of us working together so that when we do open up, what we're going to do, coming up with ideas. So she's a huge part of Kai Cafe, and I always have her right beside me, because I feel like without her, we wouldn't be where we are. And that's acknowledging all of our team at Kai Cafe. And the thing with Alicia is she does a lot of work outside of the cafe as well for Kai Cafe. So I always have her right beside me. I don't know why she's standing behind me at this time, because I'm a very, she's
Actually, can
awesome.
We invite Alicia just to come forward a little bit? Alicia, can we see your lovely face? Can you tell us about what the past 4 weeks has been like for you, and how you felt about reopening this morning?
How do you feel about the reopening for you this morning, and what was the 4 weeks like?
The 4 weeks, they were all good. Busy. We were just thinking of different ways that when we were able to open, what we can do to, what we can do other ways and without people having to come in and pick up and stuff. It's cool that we're open today. Yeah, I'm happy.
That's good. What's been the most popular item that customers have ordered from you today?
Our cream power, our power pockets, yeah, and fresh fish, our fish meals, yeah.
You're making us all hungry this morning. Pānia, what does life look like for you and your business now that we've moved into Alert Level 3? You will also be looking forward to, without a doubt, Alert Level 2 and beyond, right? So what does that look like for you?
For starters, it's Paula. So we're going into...
Sorry, Paula, I was thinking about those paua croquettes.
Yeah, I forgot the question when you called me Pānia. I switched off.
Apologies for that. I was just asking you, what does the future look like for you and your business? Now that you've been able to reopen, you've overcome that first hurdle, if you like, or the second hurdle after lockdown. What does the future look like for you?
The future looks like for me, for us, amazing, awesome. It's about living in the now, taking each day as it comes, not looking too far ahead, because, the anxiety and everything else kicks in. So today was a great start, an awesome beginning to where we're going forward. So to me, yeah, it's looking a lot brighter. Hey, our doors, we're open. Our whānau, our amazing whānau outside of Kai Cafe have been awesome in supporting us. So yeah, it's put it this way, the sun is shining and it's looking brighter. Stay positive, stay optimistic, and things are gonna be great. Yep. So,
Thank you so much, Paula, for joining us, you and Alicia, this morning from, of course, the popular Kai Cafe in Rotorua. All the very best to you both, and we look forward to speaking with you again. Ka pai. Since COVID-19, whānau ora has moved quickly to redeploy its resources to support a nationally coordinated public health effort. One of its many initiatives is a testing clinic at Waipareira Trust Whānau House in Henderson that operates 7 days a week. With me now is John Tamihere, CEO of the Whānau Ora Commissioning Agency and Te Whānau o Waipareira. Tēnā koe, John.
Kia ora, Shane.
You've been in your role for many years now, working in our communities. Have you experienced anything like COVID-19 in your lifetime?
No, I don't think anybody has. It's been testing and challenging for everybody. But what we've got to be very proud of is our people have stood up to the test, even when they didn't have the resources to hoard like other communities. They still handled it extraordinarily well. They kept their shape, they kept their discipline. And our organisations up and down the country, whether they're iwi or urban, stood up, broke their bubbles and went out to ensure that our communities were protected. And I think that's an outstanding statement for us as a people to really pat ourselves on the back. And we're not good at it. But I just wanted to convey that to anyone that was watching today, that we're so proud of the way in which they've conducted themselves across the whole of the motu. Outstanding efforts.
Can you talk to us about that effort in terms of what's been coordinated by the commissioning agency, the whānau ora providers and the support that they've been giving whānau over the last few weeks?
Yeah, look, we are a population-driven program and policy, but we're not funded for it. And so we struggle to meet the right expectations of a lot of our communities. So with the limited resources that we have to work together as collectives up and down the country to bring the best possible solutions in the quickest possible time with the least possible money. And so we got out of the gate really quick because of what was happening overseas. And COVID could have caused huge damage to our people because of their predisposition to influenza, and particularly our elders. And so we got out of the gate really quick with hygiene packs going up and down the country. That produced what we call a public health jolt that ensured that our people were awoken to the difficulties that were ahead of them, because no one was getting ill and falling down around one another. And so those hygiene packs were then complemented up and down the country. And so if you go to the Whānau Ora website, you'll see people from the different offerings, and different iwi did different things. Wairarapa, Kahanunuki Wairarapa did an outstanding contribution, putting all sorts of other things in these packs. And that happened up and down the country. And so, and then they started to deliver them, house to house. Remarkable outcome. No government agency could have done that.
Well, we've seen the hard work that has been shown right across the country from and by many of the whānau ora providers. What happens now in terms of your plans, the commissioning agency's plans to further support whānau? We've moved now to alert level 3. Does anything change?
No, alert level 3 for Māori should not change in terms of what it was for alert level 4, other than those of our whānau that are lucky enough to have jobs, particularly in and around construction and a number of other opportunities in retail. They get back to work. What we've got to be very careful of is that COVID hasn't been defeated. It won't be defeated until a vaccine arrives. So we've got to protect our whānau through winter. And winter hasn't bitten yet. We've had an unusually warm autumn start and a very warm summer, which has lulled us into a sense of comfort. So we just have to keep our organisation, our shape. To do that, we're going to have to continue to deliver and upgrade from hygiene packs to kai packs pretty soon. In our view, food, standing and getting food isn't necessarily the issue. What is getting enough money into those houses so they can make their own choices rather than be deemed a second-class citizen, having all this sort of stuff delivered, right? And so we are strongly advocating greater resourcing to our communities up and down the country so that they can provide them with the food voucher type cards that you can buy to put into Countdown or Pack and Save, and you can buy your own kai rather than somebody else making all the decisions for you. And we have to start to liberate our people, and we can't go back to a pre-COVID world. So let's have a post-COVID conversation about how we support our people in the recovery from COVID. This is going to be the biggest discussion we're going to have. I think we've broken the back of COVID. We now need to break the back of being very meaningful participants in the recovery. And I don't see that happening at the moment.
So what does need to happen, in your view, for Māori to be part of that recovery collective focus?
Well, billions of dollars have already been spent. Billions of dollars have already been spent on a business and welfare package. What we require in the new budget that's going to come out in May is that any Crown money, any government money that's gone onto any project, Māori must have a participatory right of no less than 30%. So whatever social housing is built, I want 30% of that workforce to be Māori subbies, if available. I want 30% of trade trainees to be Māori. This is resetting the moral compass of our country, that post-COVID, we won't be locked into a pre-COVID welfare state and become state dependents. We must use the state's money to get a fair and right outcome for our people, and that means we get provision for on what they call affirmative action plans. Otherwise, I fear for our unemployment rate, and then I fear for us being locked in for generations at the bottom end of town. And that's just one program. There's a number of others that we want to advance.
Well, thank you for that, John, and for joining us this morning. We do really appreciate your time. And please extend our thanks to your team too.
Kia ora. Kia ora, Shane.
John Tamihere there, the CEO of the Whānau Ora Commissioning Agency and Te Whānau o Waipareira Trust. Well, prior to lockdown, New Zealand's screen industry was thriving, with a large number of local and international projects in or about to begin production. The global screen industry is now facing economic challenges similar to those within the global tourism sector. The Screen Sector COVID-19 Action Group has been set up to respond to the impact of COVID-19 on the screen industry. Well, with me now is Hineani Melbourne, toihau of Ngā Aho Whakaari, who is a member of the Action Group. Tēnā koe, Hineani.
Tēnā koe, Shane.
What is the impact of COVID-19 on the screen industry? What are you hearing?
Basically, Shane, what happened is that New Zealand was gearing up for 5 years of unprecedented production work, and we were scrambling to find workers. Within 2 weeks, the entire industry shut down. So it was a real shock for our industry, and it's not just New Zealand but internationally. So a group was quickly set up of screen industry organisations, including Ngā Aho Whakaari, and we got together and we're working with the government, advising and suggesting packages or how we could work with the government to help our people, because they went from earning, most of the people in the film and television industry are contractors, so unless they're working, they're not getting paid. And so we were making sure that they knew about the packages that were available, that they took advantage of the packages. Some of them had their own companies because it's easier to work under that as a contractor. And we made sure that as businesses that they got support. And also one of the areas, for example, that fell over a bit was the sole traders, that is people who work for themselves but contract out here and there. And the IRD rejected some 7,000 of them. And so we had to go back to our constituents and say to them, look, apply again, ask them why, explain that because you'd work for 6 months for such and such company doesn't mean that you actually are an employee of that company, that you are still a sole trader. So those were some of the challenges we had to face, and of course our people went from full-time work to nothing overnight.
I do want to ask you about what specific support you've asked the government for, but before we go there, you mentioned the 7,000 that were denied support in the first instance. Can you tell us what the status of those sole traders is now? Are they still working with IRD?
From what we understand, yes. I mean, people aren't willing to discuss their tax situations freely, but we did make sure that the information was there, and that's all we can do is provide the information.
I asked the question because 7,000 sole traders, that's a sizable amount, right? And these are people that, as you say, were earning, now aren't, and may not be able to access any form of government support.
So it wasn't just in the screen industry, but those were the numbers we got.
Right.
And so our job was to make sure that the screen industry people, particularly for us, Māori, knew to go back and keep asking questions and keep pushing.
What about the specific support that the sector group is requesting from the government? What does that look like? Because we're all aware of the current support, the relief packages that have been provided by government. But 1 month from now, we're looking at a budget. What has your group been asking the government for?
So it's multi-layered. So most of the money in the media package went to broadcasters, went to the major production companies so that they could kick into production as soon as possible. So, for example, I understand that South Pacific Pictures are wanting to start on Shortland Street immediately, now that we're in level 3. And so our role is not only to look at packages, but we're just advising, so we actually don't have final say. So we're talking to MB, the Ministry of Culture and Heritage, and just explaining to them situations and trying to make sure that they have the best information possible. Because the media industry is actually a multi-pronged beast. It goes from major international feature films like Lord of the Rings or Avatar to small short films that are made for $10,000. So it's a huge moving beast, and within it you've also got major international production companies, and most of New Zealand top production companies are internationally owned now, and again right down to the sole traders. So it's multi-leveled and multi-pronged, so that's one area that we're working in, but we're also working with our own people and saying, take this opportunity to look at what you want to achieve within the film or screen industry and where you want to go. Also, how you're going to run your business. I'm sorry to interrupt because we're running out of time, but I do want to ask, in terms of opportunity that COVID-19 has brought about, we've discussed some of the challenges that, without a doubt, the screen industry is facing. We all are facing. But what opportunities are you also exploring or discussing that have been brought about because of COVID-19 for the sector? So what's going to happen is that the internationals won't be coming back to New Zealand shores in the foreseeable future. What that means is that the local production industry has an opportunity, a window of opportunity to make content for a content-hungry world, not just Aotearoa New Zealand, for a content-hungry world, and to supply that content. So that is the opportunity. That is the opportunity for us as Indigenous storytellers, as Māori, as people of the New Zealand screen industry.
Tēnā rau atu koe, Hineani. Thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
Kia ora.
Hineani Melbourne there, the toihau of Ngā Aho Whakaari. Well, Māori with questions about their medication can now ring a free 0800 number to speak with a Māori pharmacist. Ngā kaitiaki o te puna rongowa, the Māori Pharmacists Association, launched its telephone service a week ago in response to COVID-19 and the lockdown. The number to ring is 0800 664 688, and a Māori pharmacist will call you back for a kōrero. There are 10 pharmacists taking part in the service. And with me now to talk about the new service is Kevin Pewhairangi of Tūranga Nui a Kiwa, the president of Ngā Kaitiaki o te Puna Rongoā. Tēnā rau atu koe.
Tēnā koe, Shane.
Tell us what's behind this great initiative, I have to say. What's the need that you identified?
So over this period, we've noticed there's communications with your regular GP clinic or pharmacy. It's really been hard because of the demand that we're facing. So we decided to reactivate a number that we had to offer another taringa me ki for whānau and in Māori, non-Māori to access.
And what do you hope to achieve by using the service or by launching the service?
It's just a way to help encourage whānau to understanding their medications. It's a way to pass the message on. There's aha ko tēnei āhuatanga o tēnei wā, whatever's going on with COVID-19, we still got to look after ourselves, especially if we've got long-term conditions. We've got to make sure that we're looking after all those things. If we're on regular medications, we need to be taking it. We don't need to go without. We can access medications. GP clinics, pharmacies are open. So that's the message we want to get across. And it's also about empowering people to understand exactly how they're going to react or how their medication's going to work, and an opportunity for them to ask any sort of questions e pāna ki ngā whare rongoā pharmacies.
What we've heard from a number of GPs that have been on this program is the drop-off in numbers, those that are reaching out to GP services. I'm interested to know what it's been like for you, for your pharmacy. Have you also seen the drop-off?
It's actually been quite regular because we're still open, and it's a different service where people have to come. But at the same time, we do offer delivery services, especially for our pakeke. At that stage, at level 4, we didn't want to get them out because they were vulnerable. But it's been pretty much business as usual, and it's been good because it allows us to still have that contact with our regular patients and to keep an eye on them at this time.
And what has that contact been like? I'm interested to understand those customers that you've been seeing day to day. What's that been like? And have you been sharing part of the experience of their lockdown?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, even though we offer delivery service, people took it as an opportunity to escape their bubble, to come out. It was, unless they were going out to Ngā Hoko Maha, to the supermarkets, this was really the only other place they could come to. So they would often decline our delivery service, and it was a chance for them to discuss what's going on and to seek some reassurance that they're doing the right thing.
Well, we like that, right? It's part of our DNA. We like contact. We like to have a kōrero. And I'm interested to understand how many other Māori pharmacists we have that could be providing a similar type of service.
Yep, so we only, ā-Rohe he Pounamu, so we only there's about 150 of us, Māori pharmacists in Aotearoa, out of just over 3,000 pharmacists. But on our service, as you said, in our phone service, there's around about 10 of us that have put our hands up to be a part of this kaupapa. And so, but there are other Māori pharmacists out there working in pharmacy, whether it be community pharmacy, whether it be in the pharmaceutical industry, or it could be at a hospital pharmacy as well.
And best we check, can non-Māori also use this phone service?
Yes, of course. Mo te katoa tēnei nama waia, so it's for everyone. And it's just another taringa, another ear for people to call on if they have any questions or wanga, anything relating to medical conditions or their medicines.
Kevin Pewhairangi, tēnā rau atu koe e hoa. Me tō whakawāte i a koe anō, ki Tapatahi tēnei ata. Ngā mihi nui ki a koe, otira ki a koutou katoa ngā kai kēmihi.
Ai. Tēnā koe.
Kevin Pewhairangi there. Well, New Zealand's district court is the largest in Australasia, with more than 170 judges overseeing criminal, family, youth and civil hearings. Its work also includes specialist courts like the Rangatahi and Pacifica courts, the drug and alcohol courts and courts for the homeless. It's thought COVID-19 has affected more than 50,000 court events, and that's been a major challenge for the country's first Māori Chief Judge of the District Court, Heemi Taumaunu. Kei taku rangatira kei te Kaiwhakawā Matua, ka nui rā te mihi ki a koe. Thank you for joining us this morning. Welcome to the program.
Kia ora rā koe, Shane. Tēnā koe I karakama iau ki au I tēnei ata. Te kōrero atu ki a koutou mo te kōti ā-Rohe.
Just 8 months into the post and you've been dealt a whopper. What has that meant for you in terms of managing the stress of it all?
Well, to put it mildly, it's been very busy, and it's probably best to say this, it's not really about me at all, Shane. It's more about ensuring that our district courts throughout the country are able to continue to operate, to deal with all of the most urgent and most important cases that we can during this very difficult period. It's one of those situations where the Chief Justice, who is the overall Chief Justice of all courts, said at the beginning of the Alert Level 4 lockdown that this pandemic, the COVID pandemic, has created an unprecedented disruption to the operation of the courts. And even in the 2 world wars, the courts weren't disrupted in this way. And so we've been doing our best to ensure that the people who are in custody are being dealt with in the criminal courts, and the people who are really in need of the protection of the court in terms of their personal safety are being dealt with by the family court as well.
So what has been the priority for you managing the court under lockdown and Alert Level 4?
In Alert Level 4, what we've ensured is that anyone who is in police custody or in prison at the moment, who is scheduled to appear in the courts over Alert Level 4, is actually being heard by a judge, and that's been a very important part of the strategy during Alert Level 4 to ensure that that actually does happen. As far as the family court's concerned, the family court has been open to deal with all of the urgent applications that, as I say, deal with personal safety. So in particular, where there's been family violence, those sorts of family violence applications have been heard by the family court. And where people are at risk, particularly children, those sorts of applications have also been heard by the family court, as well as the wellbeing sorts of applications that deal with people's mental health and those sorts of applications.
Under Alert Level 3, the court will still be operating at a reduced capacity. What does that mean?
What it really means is that we need to try and do as much as we can with the limitation of physical distancing that applies, and to do it in a way that ensures that heightened hygiene standards are observed in the courts. And that impacts on the ability of us to operate at full capacity. We simply can't do business as usual at the moment, and we will be doing as much as we can over Alert Level 3, but within the constraints that apply with those considerations of physical distancing and the need to ensure hygiene standards are maintained.
What about the backlog of cases? How will you manage that, and does that include more reliance on virtual hearings?
With the backlog of cases, what we're really talking about there is people who have been affected by the way that the court's been operating at a reduced capacity. And so they may have been expecting their hearing to have been heard during Alert Level 4, and they haven't had that hearing. So what we're really talking about is people who have had a delay in terms of their hearings being dealt with. The way that is going to be approached by the district court is that judges will be calling over those cases, reviewing them, and working out how to reprioritise those cases depending on how urgent they are.
People will... Sorry, carry on.
No, Shane, you carry on.
And so does that mean more reliance on virtual hearings?
to the extent possible, we will be relying on virtual technology to conduct a lot of the work. That's been necessary because it makes sense in terms of physical distancing to rely on as much virtual technology as we possibly can. It is worth bearing in mind, though, that there's been a massive increase in the use of virtual technology. We did have some use of virtual technology before the pandemic, but now we have, with the assistance of the Ministry of Justice, who have really worked non-stop to try and bolster the amount of virtual technology at our disposal, we are intending to use that technology during this pandemic as much as we can.
People will worry that delays to their case may mean justice denied. What do you say to those people?
What I would say to those people is, first of all, I recognise that that is a concern, a legitimate one, and we will be doing our best over coming weeks to reprioritise those cases that have been adjourned and to give people a hearing date as soon as we possibly can.
Kei te Kaiwhakawā Matua o te kōti ā-Rohe, ka nui rā te mihi ki a koe, ngā mihi.
Tēnā koe, Shane.
And to close today's program, the Matthews and Riwai Couch whānau in the Wairarapa were able to merge their small bubbles today as the country moved to alert level 3. Earlier today I spoke to the whānau about life in lockdown, and while Anzac Day has passed, they remind us all that we should remember the fallen and servicemen and women every day of the year. Hoi anō tēnā koutou e te whānau, ngā mihi nui ki a koutou I tēnei ata.
Morena. Morena.
Me timatara pia ki a koe e kui, mā koutou rā e whakamārama mai ko wai koutou nohea rā koutou.
Oh, tēnā koe. Ko hikurani te maunga ko taumare te awa ko ngā toki mata whaurua te waka, ko ngā pui te iwi, ko ngā tihine te hapu, ko mata waia te marae. Ko mata i nei. Kia ora.
Ka pai, ki a koe I nai nei?
Ai, no reira, ai ko takimama tēnei, ko parimo ia, ko pānea ahau, engari ka tukuna moena I ki te kōrero ko wairaiwa.
Kia ora, ko Matara Kiriwai Kaupsuku Ingoa, he rea hau no Ngāti Kaimuru me ngā puhi.
Kia ora, ko mai o Harewa Couch tēnei, he area no Ngāti Kaimuru ki te Wairarapa, anō ngā puhi ki ngā tirine. Kia ora.
A tēnā koutou I nā whakamārama, taku pātai tuarua, kua pēhia nei te noho rāhui, kua pēhia nei tā koutou noho.
Te aho whakaaro mama?
Well, he pai tonu nā ki mea, e toru nui ho mātou, he wāhine katoa, ko hau, ko taku tamahine, ko taku mokopuna. Ahakoa, e tahi wā, ahakoa te rahi o Taumata whare, e tahi wā tino nohi nohi. Nā te puta whakaaro o ngā reanga nei, ngā mea, tamariki nei. Ka omahau ki te tahi atu rima kahuna o te wā. Engari, te ringa o te wā, tino whai.
Ai, tautoko ana I ngā kōrero o tēnei, engari nā tōna kuia e kite ana ngā hina puta mai ana I tōna maunga. Kua whitu te kaumārua tōna pakeke, engari mai te rātua tahi tōna hihia ki te oma atu ki waho, te haere ki te toa, te hoko kai, ko taku koro atu ki a ehe, me noho tō kumu ki te kāinga mama. Engari, ko enei tōko rua I noho ki miru atu I tēnei, e nā te hikina ki te taumata toru rāua I kuhumai, no reira tērā pia he kōrero anō rāua, I aha kōrua I pēhea te taumata whā.
He tiro ahua hogi a, te mea kore tō mātou, o mātou hoa, I tō whatetara.
Pēhea I nai nei kia kōrua, kōtiro mā, kua ahua rereke I nai nei tō kōrua ao I te taunga mai o te noho ki te pai tuatoru?
Ai ahua rereke o māua, nā te mea kaore anō mātou kia mahi tēnei momo ā-uauatanga.
E tā maa oranga. A maa hoki.
He wheako, ne? He wheako kei roto I tēnei momo noho. Pānia, taku mōhio nei te nuinga o te wā kei kirikiri roa ke koe noho ana, kei reira rānei koe mahi ana, engari mo tēnei tū āhuatanga I heke pēnā atu koe ki te tiaki I tō māma.
Ai, mo e hara, kaore he reo ake I te reo o te māma, ne? Kuta mai te kōrero kia te whātukauma waru haora, ka huru I te motu katoa ki te taumata whā, ko taku whakaaro, tērā pia ka noho tonu au ki kirikiri roa, ka pātuhi tono pātuhi mai a māma, hoki mai, ono haora muri mai tērā I hoki mai I tai atu au ki te wairarapa, noho ai ki tōna taha.
E kui pāre mo, kua pēhea nei te noho mai a tō tamāhine a o mokopuna ki a koe, ki roto anō I tō miru I roto I ngā wiki tata ko taha atu nei?
Ai, he oranga ngākau. He oranga ngākau. Nā te mea te nunga o te wā, ko haunake ke taku pare, ko māua ko taku mokopuna. Aha kua enei atu o mokopuna kei whare ke, engari he rere ke te miru. Nā reira, ka haere mai, ka kōrero mai I waho taku whare, he mea rere ke tēnā. Pirangi ai te hare ki te api a rātou, hau mai ki te whare. Engari, ka me koe. Nā reira, he pai, me te hokinga mai o tēnei. Engari, oe ia ko ia te rangatira o te whare nei. Me mahara ia.
Ka pai e koe, te hanga nei kua tino pai nai nei ne, I te mea kua hono ngā miru e rua.
Ai.
Ka pai. Pānia, kōrero mai hea te waiata, kua whakaritea mai nei e koutou hei waiata ki a tātou I tēnei ata.
Ai, ko te waiata, ka waiata mā tautoko toru, ka tautoko mai a māma, ko e te hoko whitu atu, I te mea katahi anō te motu katoa I maumahara ki a rātou ngā hoia, o pakanga o ngā rā o mua. Me te rereke hoki o te tū ki te tuku honore atu ki a rātou I te rāhoroira. Nō reira, tangi tonu ana te ngākau ki a rātou, aha kua pahure ke te rā, hoki tonu ana ngā mahara ki a rātou. Nō reira, koira te waiata, kua whiria I mātou te waiata I tēnei ata.
Ka pai, me te mihi nui ki tēnā whakaaro, aha kua he rā motuhake I tui te rāhoroi kua taha, me ki pēnei ne, ngā rā katoa me maumahara tātou ki a rātou. Nō reira, kei a koutou I nāia nei te wā.
E te hoko whitu atu kia kahara, ka tira te hinga ki rarora, mana whakaara ke rungarawa, hei arahi te ara e tika ai, pirinaki tāte katoa, kia kōtahira. Ngā mara e tunu ane, ngā mara e tunu ane,
Ka maura te wehi, e koe me tike atu pia hau I tō kōrero, he koanga ngākau. Ka nui rā te mihi ki a koutou katoa, mō koutou, I whakawātea mai a koutou anō, ki a mātou o whakaata Māori, me ki te motu whānui I tēnei ata, tēnā ra wātu koutou katoa. Ka pai. Well, thank you to all our guests on today's show, and thank you for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow morning at 10:30 and available on all our platforms. Koina a tapatahi mo tēnei rā kia piki te ora te kaha me te māramatanga ki a koutou katoa Hei kona mo tēnei wā.